Hello, and thank you for your continued interest in Transformations Rehab Services. This is a follow-up video explaining a little more in detail who we are, why we exist, and how our services can benefit you. Now, for the sake of those who have not seen our introductory video, allow me a moment to recap. My name is Marco Rodriguez. I've been an occupational therapist for over 25 years. Previously, I worked for the Sierra Providence Health Network in El Paso, Texas. And as I stated in my previous video, I loved my job and thought that's what I would do for the rest of my life. However, several years ago, we faced unexpected circumstances when my third son developed multiple neurologic atypicalities. And I say that way because it seemed as though no one could ever quite figure out exactly what was going on with him. It all seemed like a bunch of guesswork. ADD, ADHD, ASD, Asperger's, sensory processing disorder, social anxiety disorder, just to name a few. Initially, we tried traditional interventions such as OT, speech, behavioral mod, and it seemed like we tried every medication possible. And nothing made a significant impact in Patrick's life. Maybe some of you can relate with this. They'd increase the dose or decrease the dose, change the medication, combine the medication, but nothing seemed to make much of a difference. And it didn't take me long to realize that everyone was simply guessing. They really didn't know how to help him, and it's not their fault. They were trying, but it was almost as though they were guessing or rolling the dice, hoping to get lucky in finding the right combination of medicines. Now, I don't know about you, but my son's life is not a game of chance, and as his parent, I owed it to him to do everything I could to help him to become a productive member of society. So we went to work, researching every possible alternative that we could find, and what I found changed my life. More importantly, it changed Patrick's life. I soon realized that none of the medications given to Patrick were addressing the core biomarkers associated with this population. And here's what I mean. Did you know that 78 to 80% of children with these neurologic atypicalities have a series of common biomarkers, including brainwave dysregulation, low levels of an enzyme called glutathione, high levels of reactive oxygen species, also known as oxidative stress, which is free radicals or the toxins that are present in the body. They also tend to have mitochondrial dysfunction, brain inflammation, and a poor gut biome. Now, the good news is that we did find research demonstrating how alternative strategies could address each of these biomarkers. So we figured we had nothing to lose. Suffice to say, we had incredible results. Now, this isn't magic and it does take time, but by Patrick's senior year, he had improved so much that he qualified for the state finals in drama, where he took first place in prose as well as duet acting. Now think about it. This is a child who had severe stuttering problems, poor reading comprehension, poor short-term memory, in addition to being diagnosed with a social anxiety disorder, and yet we were able to help him overcome. He decides he wants to play football. Now, we had people telling us that we were crazy and irresponsible for allowing him to play. They'd say things like, who ever heard of a kid like that playing football? Well, he did play football, and by his senior year, he was a division leader in tackles, made the all-state first state team, and broke the school's single season record with 105 tackles. And he did all of that at 5'8", 145 pounds. Now, this is Patrick today. He's going to college, studying to be an English major, as well as working in our front office. He lives a very productive life. He is a productive member of society. In fact, Patrick progressed so well that it was his pediatrician and his neurologist who encouraged us to establish an outpatient rehab center dedicated to providing the same services and educational opportunities to our patients that worked so well for Patrick. So you could say Transformations was birthed out of tragedy and our desire to simply help our son. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to highlight some of the same strategies that have worked so well with Patrick, as well as many of our patients. Now, many of these you've never heard of before, and unfortunately, neither have most of the physicians in this region, but hopefully this video and what we are doing at Transformations is slowly changing that, because you can't argue with what I call the 2 R's, research and results. In looking at the research, we now know that 78 to 80% of children with these neurologic atypicalities have several biomarkers in common, including brainwave dysregulation, low levels of glutathione, which is a very important enzyme in your body, high levels of oxidative stress, free radicals, also known as toxins, in addition to mitochondrial dysfunction, brain inflammation, and a poor gut biome. And what I found is that none of the medications given to Patrick are clinically proven to do a single thing about these biomarkers. Now, we're certainly not completely anti-medication, but what we want to do is to empower people to think, research, ask questions, and consider the ramifications of your decisions. And who can argue with that? So let's start off with brainwave dysregulation. Now, the brain is made up of over 100 billion interconnected neurons, and those neurons are in constant communication with each other. That communication happens two ways. One is chemical, the other is electrical. Electrically, we can measure it with an EEG. Now, our QEEG technology, also known as brain mapping, takes this one step further by providing us with a three-dimensional image of the brain's electrical activity. And why is that important to you? Well, we know that many neurologic disorders go misdiagnosed or insufficiently diagnosed because there was no way of looking inside the brain and measuring brainwave dysfunction associated with neurologic abnormalities. And many of these people are not only misdiagnosed or insufficiently diagnosed, but they are also improperly treated, improperly medicated. We believe that is now a thing of the past. Combining this state-of-the-art brain mapping technology with our neurofeedback interventions, we are now better able to target the areas of the brain experiencing dysregulation, making our treatment interventions that much more effective, essentially taking the guesswork out of the equation. So in essence, neurofeedback is like CrossFit training for the brain. Now, how many of you know that if you exercise but don't eat properly, you may still receive some benefits? However, if you exercise and consume specific natural compounds, you're gonna get even better results faster. So what I found is that there are natural compounds that can address these common biomarkers. So let's talk about glutathione. First, you need to know that low levels of glutathione is prevalent within this population. So why is that important to you? Well, molecular biologists state that glutathione is the second most abundant single molecule in your body, second only to water. So ask yourself, how important is water to your health? Well, you couldn't live but maybe a few days without it. So if water is that important to your health, how important do you think glutathione is? And then many of these children have low levels of this crucial enzyme called glutathione. Now, why is that important? Well, along with superoxide dismutase and catalase, they are highly involved in the cellular redox status. And what that means is that they are crucial to cleaning out and reducing the amount of oxidative stress in your body. Now, some of you may be asking, where does this oxidative stress come from? Well, essentially from everywhere. From the food you eat to the air you breathe, it comes from everywhere. Now, when your glutathione levels are nice and high, you are better able to detoxify your body of these environmental assaults. But if your glutathione levels are low, these environmental toxins begin to build up in your body. In fact, we have a patient who, at 4 years old, had the oxidative stress levels consistent with a 46-year-old man. Now, that's not good for a 46-year-old man, much less a 4-year-old child. Actually, oxidative stress has been linked to over 200 different diseases like cancer, diabetes, Parkinson's, lupus, fibromyalgia, and many others. And you may be wondering, what is the role of glutathione? Well, along with catalase and superoxide dismutase, these enzymes are master detoxifiers. So we educate our patients how they can use natural compounds to boost a cellular pathway called NRF2, which effectively boosts these enzymes and is capable of reducing 1 million free radicals per second every second in every cell of your body, effectively reducing oxidative stress levels by an average of 40% in 30 days and up to 70% in 120 days. And the results have been remarkable. In fact, Washington State University says that the discovery of our ability to activate NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic, most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So, Do you think that maybe, just maybe, this is important information for you to know? All right, let's change gears and let's talk about mitochondrial dysfunction. Now you may be wondering, what in the world is mitochondria? Well, if you remember from junior high school biology, the mitochondria is a little organelle inside of every cell in your body. In fact, you have approximately 100 billion mitochondria in your body. It's also the powerhouse of the cell. It is the factory that gives every cell of your body energy. Studies show that many persons with neurologic atypicalities tend to have mitochondrial dysfunction. Some theories state that low levels of glutathione lead to high levels of oxidative stress, which then begins the process of destroying the mitochondria. Now, if this is true, then activating that NRF2 pathway, boosting glutathione as well as the other enzymes and lowering oxidative stress will minimize mitochondrial destruction. However, it gets even better. Did you know that there are natural ways of boosting your cell's NRF1 pathway, which puts your cells into a state of mitochondrial biogenesis, which is the creation of newer and healthier mitochondria. Having stronger and healthier mitochondria increases the cellular energy, also known as ATP, slowing down the cellular aging process and supporting chromosome integrity as well as promoting cellular repair, collectively boosting cognitive capabilities as well as overall brain health, in addition to numerous other health benefits. In fact, I myself am a biohacker, and even though I am 52 years old, my blood work shows that my cellular age is 24.6 years of age. But more importantly are the results that we have seen in our clinic. So let's move on. The next thing I want to cover is brain inflammation. When you have all of these toxins flowing in your body, you have a reduction in the mitochondria. Then the body's response is to trigger the inflammatory process, especially within the brain. So we've also found that there are NRF2 activators specifically designed for optimal brain health. Many of them include ingredients like turmeric and DMAE, which have very unique properties in them in that they promote a hormone called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And that is a hormone that exists in your brain that, when activated, allows your brain to create new axons, or what we call new connections. And it may even trigger neurogenesis, which is the creation of newer and healthier neurons or brain cells. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the poor gut biome. If you have a poor gut biome, your body doesn't have the ability to filter out the toxins at the gut level. And many of our patients are also diagnosed with what is called leaky gut. And that is when the toxins that are supposed to be eliminated via a bowel movement get leaked back and recirculated in the body. Now, it doesn't take a doctor to understand the implications of that. Now, this doesn't just happen with patients with neurologic atypicalities. You'll hear people all the time as they get older say things like that they're experiencing mental fatigue. Even persons who have office jobs are exhausted at the end of the day. Well, they're not really physically exhausted, they're more mentally exhausted. Now, having a poor gut biome does all kinds of bad things in your body. It has issues affecting your immune system, your ability to absorb vitamins, your metabolism. It's been linked to obesity, the inflammatory process, and of course, autism and other neurologic atypicalities. So ask yourself, what if there was a way to better identify and address those common biomarkers? Brainwave dysregulation, activating the NRF1 pathway, boosting mitochondrial production, activating the NRF2 pathway, boosting glutathione by 300%, and effectively reducing oxidative stress by 70%. What if you could improve the gut biome and reduce inflammation in the brain? Now think about that for a moment. If all of these issues are affecting your child and you could positively impact them, how would that affect your child? Transformations Rehab Services was established because my wife and I believe that every child deserves the same opportunity to succeed as we gave Patrick. So that concludes our introductory video. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to learn more about how Transformations Rehab can help you. And most importantly, we want to thank you and welcome you to the Transformations family.